almost fitting on the bench here today. It's huge, isn't it? In Technicolor, widescreen, CPC 464. So this belongs to Rich. He made contact to me and asked the question, could I have a look at this? I looked at one for him before my channel, there'll be a link top right to that. And I said, yeah, no worries. It's easy, well I say easy to work on these. I'm not so sure. I should have accepted looking at this now. Because it's always the way, I've got too much stuff on the bench, I've got too much stuff to get through. But yeah, I want to do it with the CPC. Yeah, just paying attention to the length of these screws, they're all the same length, so they're original screws and yeah, they're all matching. So let's just pull that down, just try and get the top off. And yeah, the keyboard ribbon is to that side, but yeah, there we go. So in fact, we can power it on without the keyboard connected to start with, so let's just disconnect that. So I'm just going to carefully just grab and just pull out, pull out. Yeah, far easier to just work on this as it is. Look at that there, ouch, that's a bit dirty. Yeah, inspection is your first port of call here. So yeah, that's a bit dirty, isn't it? And the rest of the PCB is pretty dusty. Yeah, just zoomed you out a little bit there. You can see there's a lot of dust in here. And that's moving around here, look. But yeah, just looking at all the connections and things, I don't really see anything obvious. We've got the gate array up here. It's the 40010. I've got the Z80 there. Everything sort of looks alright. This has got me a bit concerned here what this is. That might be the issue. Bit of corrosion around there, maybe a damaged pin or something. I don't know, you know, a damaged trace. So we'll start off by actually just powering this up, I think. So I've got a CPC RGB cable here for my CPC. Put away here, you can see I've got a couple of tapes. And we've also got this, the Amstrad Module MP1, which is the power supply and modulator combined. We're not going to be using the modulator. Now I could use the bench power supply here to current limit this, but yeah, I'm just going to go for it with this. So I've got RGB connected, the power there, that connected. This is not going to power on unless it's switched on. You switch it on, I think, by the tape deck, don't you? Yeah, so the power switch is missing, yeah, and it will short two of the pins here. It might be 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. I will just check that, and we'll just use a DuPont actually to power this on. Yeah, so wrist strap on. Just watching my own video, yeah, it's reminding me that from when Yellow Belly did this. Pin 1, top there, 2 pin 3, so making sure you use the yellow one here, these two are joined together. And just having a feel, make sure nothing's hot. Yeah, nothing on the screen, so I'll just disconnect that sec. Would you believe it? It works. You know what I think this is? It's just the power switch, there's nothing wrong with this. It did take me a few seconds to get that to connect because this DuPont is a little bit fluffy, let's say. Let's try it again with the orange one instead of the yellow wire here. Let's just see. Yeah, look, when I get it at the right angle, it comes on. I mean, maybe there's a problem with the reset because they'd have to faff around with that a little bit, but the display's up, so I actually think there's nothing wrong with this. I really despise when I get balls like this because, well, it's, you know, where's the content? It's got to be the power switch. Anyway, it's just going to take me a while to clean this up. I'm really not going to show you all the cleaning there. I've done it all before till the cameras come home. These boards generally will look pristine when I've finished on them, but I mean that needs cleaning off there. So let's just disconnect the power. I don't think there was ever anything wrong with this, but we haven't tested it fully yet, have we? Yeah, I think that's just maybe a bit of dried flux actually, rather than anything, you know, overly concerning there. Stuck between the pins there, so just get a tiny little bit of IPA on the cap. We are going to be cleaning the wider area here anyway, but I just want to there we go, yeah, it's come out now. Yeah, I'm not going to go nuts because we're going to be cleaning up the wider area, and you can see that dirt's just going to smear around now as we clean just that bit. You know what, let's just wipe further afield. May as well take advantage of a bit of IPA. mean, hoovering it is usually where I would start with something like this to get rid of most of this dust, and then start wiping it, because otherwise you just smear a lot of this around if you don't hoover it first. You know, collect the freestanding dirt with the vacuum, and then start to clean with cotton buds, paper towel. You can see the contrast, but that is looking really tidy around that now. It's just some flux, I think. So let's disconnect that wire, and let's just connect all this back up again, because right now the way things are looking or seeming, it's working, doesn't it? I think it's just going to be the power switch. I mean, maybe not. Not really the ideal angle here. I am wondering if this was even connected here. Did I disconnect this? Was it left disconnected? It's aligned correctly there, so hang on. Let's come straight on, look. Hang on, switch it off. It's on, it's working. Yeah, that was a bit disconcerting there. As I plugged that on, it came straight on. Hang on, it's not working now. Yeah, if you look at the power LED here. So it worked when I plugged the lid on. It's not working now, look. That's interesting. It's going to be that power switch, isn't it? Right, so let's just get some contact cleaner into this switch here. And just do a bit of a switch like that. Yeah, so I mean, you could just, you know, test the power here before bothering to reconnect. There you go, it's back on again, look. Just come straight on. Switch it off. Yeah, it's working every time now. I think that was it. It's hard to believe it's come all this way in the world's strangest packaging. There you go, and that's what it was the power switch. There we go, thanks for watching, catch you in the next video. Right, so I've got a cassette in. I don't know if he serviced this or not. Let's try Chase HQ. It has had a few chews that type. So it's control the small enter, press play, and then return. I think I'll press any key. Where's the any key? I can't find the any key. And then it's a case of very closely watching and listening. If you start to see a speed difference between these spools where one of them stops or something, you want to stop the tape instantly. I'm going to be ready with the stop button. Listen to that. It's actually loading. It's sort of going though. It's doing the variable speed thing where it slips and it's not as strong as it should be because of the belts and the cleanliness there of everything. The pinch roller in particular. It'll go. You know, you sort of get like a variable frequency, like the frequencies. It's going faster and slower, faster and slower. You get it there. It shows you how good it is in terms of actually loading that data. You know, the routine they use there. These things can sound absolutely terrible. So yeah, my point there. It's amazing, isn't it, how tolerant it is. That's the word I was looking for. How tolerant it is, despite how. Hang on. We should get the title screen next. Unless that's crashed. No, it hasn't. It's amazing how tolerant they are. Yeah, at loading. Because that tape deck well needs servicing. So we'll do that while we're here as well. Well, I'll send Rich a message just to let him know there's nothing wrong with it. Thanks for sending it. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, there was, you know, the power switch, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be pleased. Could use a colour on this version as well. Run out of time, I think, almost. Anyway, let's power our foot on. I'm very pleased though, and it's no surprise the tape deck sounded more and more normal as it loaded. I would say after the first minute or two, it started to sound totally normal, and that's what you tend to find because it's, you know, belts and everything and the rubbers get a bit of exercise, it warms up and then it gets a bit better. So it probably does need a new belt. I'm not going to do that. It's not going to be a full restore. I'm just going to, you know, clean the top of it, give a quick clean of things inside the tape deck here, and you know, test out the different things. So tape is definitely working, just to make sure the keyboard's not got any issues. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, every key works there. Right, so I removed all the screws from the board there. Just going to use the hoover here. I've got the wrist strap on there, but it doesn't really help with protection. Yeah, so this is where you might want to get this in the sink. It's like I say, I'm not doing a full restoration on this. I've done so many of these now. And yeah, I don't have the time to be doing this for every single one. But what I will do is just clean the majority of this up. So what else would you want to do here? Well, you could recap it. There's like that one capacitor on there. When I've covered these in the past, the 464s, there's a bit of dust there actually. Yeah, I've added 1 or 2 additional caps myself, like stick one under the gate array, one under the video IC. You just get, you know, a bit more stability there. Potentially a cleaner picture. I think so anyway, because mine just looks incredible, the display output it gives. But yeah, that's not looking bad at all. So I'll get the screws back in, we'll have a quick look at the tape deck. Yeah, so respect to these things here, you may need to solder any dry points there, but a bit of contact cleaner to each of those. Yeah, it is going all over the back end of the board there. It's just IPA effectively, probably with some other sort of solvent or something in there. Could just, for good measure, just have a squidge around there. Yeah, there's some black parts come off there. And we'll have a super quick lazy man's approach to servicing this without stripping it, without removing anything, without changing the belts. But those are things you should do. You should strip it down, you should maybe change the capacitors out on this board and replace this belt. But Rich is more than capable of doing that himself. It was really just this issue that where it was just black screening, you know. I think he thought he had a black screen, he didn't have any power. So yeah, that's the easy way to clean the belt. The counter's going to need repairing, you know, the reset thing. I'll show you. You can see here it's the same thing where they get smashed off. It's just stuck in, so I think that needs doing. And his friend provided some 3D prints to do that on that other video, so hopefully Rich has still got 1 or 2 of his spares there and he can do that. So the next thing, we'll just flip this up this way. Yes, we'll get a tiny bit of IPA onto the cotton bud, hit play. You can see the playhead out here. Just bend the stalk of the cotton bud over like that. Just allows you to sort of come in straight onto the surface of it. And you want that squeaky noise. If you're not getting that squeaky noise, and you could look through the gap there, the tape window, so you can see what you're actually doing. Press pretty hard onto the surface of it. And they've got the erase head over here. There's a little plastic thing there. Can you see that little white nylon thing? It's just a tape guide, so I will always generally just wipe over that a few times. Remember, this is the lazy approach. And then what I'll do with the pinch roller here is power it all back up, you know, connect it all back up, press play, wait for this to start going round. You have to do control and enter, I think, to start with. And then just put the cotton bud here and hold it very firmly. You don't want it to get snagged and pulled around with it. But well, yeah, we could just clean that wheel that way, so let's do that. So I've got the keyboard all connected up and the tape deck. And I'll do exactly what I said. I'll do control, enter, press a key. Press into the pinch roller but hold the cotton bud firmly and just slide upwards like that. Do the same thing with the dry end. Slide just up and down it a few times. And then the other thing I'll do is get some lightly abrasive sandpaper like this. It's really smooth stuff, really, and press that onto the pinch roller, and again sort of slide up towards yourself a few times, up and down a few times. and then go over finally maybe with a dry cotton bud again, just to collect any dust or anything. You can see there's literally nothing coming off that now. The IPA will dissolve a little bit of it. If it's too worn, you may need to replace that roller. I'm just going to clean the top of it there because it looks a bit dusty. That's it, but you can see there's literally hardly anything apart from where I touched the top there coming off that. So if we stick the game back in, rewind it, let's press play, just watching those again to make sure there's no issues. Yeah, and at the same time let's listen to it to see if it sounds any healthier. It's probably going to need a new belt. They usually all need a new belt. Much better. Yeah, much better. It's lost that irregularity, you know, the fast, slow alternation that it was doing before. And whilst that's loading, I'm going to use some soapy water here and just have a wipe over this. I use cotton buds to try and get the surface of these keycaps here, because that's not going to do it, is it? And again, lazy person's clean method. You can squash a cotton bud slightly and then just like lean into the keys as you go along. Like that, you get all the dirt off the surface. But then you can see that, look how filthy that is. You've then got to go like that, lean left, lean right. So I'm looking a lot cleaner now. All the keys are pretty good here. I will get some silicone on it in a minute. It's got a little dint there, a little dint there. We've got these little marks here, so let's just try and take this out. So the way you've got to do this is you've got to sort of prise. There we go, yeah, the top is the bit that you prise out. So, oh, God, that hurt my hand. So we've got that piece of perspex out. It's got scratches, it's got some rings. So yeah, you know, the larger pieces on the bottom there, you've just got to just pull this edge just away marginally. So we'll just get some plastics. Perhaps give that another go in a minute. You can see most of the marks have gone off there, but there are still two rings. I wonder what's been on that that's been ringed. And then of course this bit here, well yeah, I'll just use the plastic polish again just to clean the dust and stuff out of that little gap. And let's now get that back in, so it goes in like that. Injecting this might be the easiest way. A couple of bits of paper towel here just to help me hold this. Yeah, and I just need to just prise the top section back in. There we go, that's one side. Yeah, pulling towards me as I sort, there we go, press that down. That's it. Yeah, so is that any better? Well, we've still got the scratch there, and we've still got these two rings, but it's a lot less noticeable, I think. Is that a hair on the inside? What's that? Yeah, it was a hair. Got a hair attracted to the inside there. It's because it's so staticky, probably. I actually think it's one of those things where it's had like rubber rings, like joystick rings, plastic rings or something, a joystick maybe sat on top of it. And what's happened is the plasticise has come out of it and left these little rings. So yeah, there's no avoiding that, I don't think. But a few repeat polishes there might deal with that, so let's just get a little bit more. Well, would you believe it? It's not working again. That's it. Yeah, it is that power switch. It probably needs a new power switch, to be fair. at the end of the clean-up work there yesterday. It's looking pretty clean. We'll get some silicone on this in a minute just to perfect this, but the original fault's come back. Just watch this, switch it on. No power light. You can hear the power supply humming, and it's plugged in. Off and on, not coming on. So I'm annoyed at myself. I think what I'm going to do, it's not screwed together this, I'm just going to lift this back off, take the switch out and actually clean the contacts up, take the switch to pieces. Assuming it is the switch. I will just check these solder points there again, but it's got to be the switch. And the reason I think it's the switch is if I just unplug the power, and then connect the power again, switch it on, look, it's come on. So it is the switch, yeah? Cleaning it that way is not sufficient. Yeah, so it has been a while since I worked on one of these, but I think, yeah, looking at this here, it's the switch here is just held in with 2 screws on its own little metal bracket here, so if we unscrew those 2 screws, and they just be able to just work on this without dissolving anything, etc. Yeah, you see here at the sides of the switch you've got 2 little metal brackets, one comes over and down and this one comes down and up like that across, and what we need to do is just lever, can you see that, just lever slightly, maybe then go to your little pliers and try and just manipulate. What you want to do is try and bend each piece here, hang on, let me just try that again, a little bit, so like we'll bend outwards a little bit, if I can get that in there, a little bit like that, yeah, and also bend this upwards a little bit, but not too much, yeah, there we go, that's enough clearance almost there. And if we do the same thing on this side here, obviously it's easier if you desolder the contacts there. In fact, let's just do that, it will just make my life a little bit easier if we just remove these 2 wires. I think that's like wrapped around there. I think we're just going to trim those off and I'll redo those little bits of wire. They must have been like fed through the little loops on those and then wrapped around. So we'll just trim them at that point. They feel a bit loose actually, so it's not going to be a problem just extending that slightly. There is enough length on here, you can just pull it marginally like that there. Yeah, so we can just deal with the switch on its own now, makes it a bit far easier, doesn't it? So at this point I can just prise out like that a little bit. There we go, starting to come outwards, prise it that up if we can. God, that's stiff. Yeah, by bending one piece upwards and then the other piece outwards, you're limiting the angle that each one needs to be bent. If you left the flat part there stuck straight out, you need to bend this piece out further, which means there's more chance of it breaking off. Anyway, we need to do this on both sides here. There we go, so we just carefully pull that out. Pay attention to how this is set up here. It's the same with any switch really. So yeah, you've got the one contact there, yeah, so that's going to need cleaning I think, and we've got the one spade there. Do you know what, that doesn't look too bad from that side, does it? It's nice and gold. You'd be like, what's wrong with that, why isn't that working? Anyway, let's just see if we can get this out. It's going to be on a little seesaw thing, isn't it? Yeah, it just seesaws over that middle contact, so we need to clean that contact down there, and we need to clean this up. But you know what, that's a mystery to me as to why that wasn't working very well, because it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. Yeah, so these are gold plated, but nevertheless I would just clean lightly with the fiberglass brush here, just dust the contact. Don't rub really hard lest there's corrosion. And the contact simply goes between the 2 points you can see there. So, That one there is the first one. I need to extend this a bit. There we go. If I extend the bristles there, yeah, I can get onto the top of it, just gently clean and have a pivot. Again, it's looking alright. Yeah, so what I'll do here is just get a bit of contact cleaner in here. You can use IPA and give it a bit of a brush. But this is where your cotton buds come in handy, because yeah, I can get straight onto that. Just have a rotate, and the same with that middle one. Yeah, we'll also just get a wee bit of deoxit onto the dry end of this cotton bud here. Don't need a lot. I'm going to clean that contact with some deoxit as well. And we'll clean this up with some deoxit. Yeah, it was a bit dirty, that. You can see it went all brown and horrible, that. Yeah, if anything, I think it was the middle section, the bit that seesaws, rather than the actual dots, you know, the spots contact there. I think it was something on there, the bit that seesaws. Now, this is where things get complicated, because I wasn't paying attention to whether this was up or down. Yeah, which end was that little bit on the end there? Was it facing downwards or was it facing upwards? And the key here is going to be just inspecting the switch contacts, the little lumpy bits. Yeah, and the fat bit there is going to be down, I think, because that's the bit that's worn. So yeah, it's going to go kind of like that, and then you've got to get this perfectly in the middle. There are little cutouts, there we go, little cutouts there, and I think it's going to go like that. It's just the plastic notch with the spring probably in it, is it? Yeah, it is. So you could clean some of the grease off there. It doesn't need quite so much, but it's got enough just to move up and down. And then I guess we could just try it out for size here, like put it into that channel there. Get the top sort of back on if we can. Like that. And then try and switch it. I'm not really sure that's right, you know, because it sounds, I don't know, it feels really stiff. That should be alright. Let's just test it for continuity. Yeah, so you could get some, like, I don't know, dielectric grease or something on that little plastic notch, the bit that slides up and down. You wouldn't want to put normal grease though, because if you get grease into a switch like this, it might not work. So that's off. Switch it back up this way. And again, I'm probably going to need to put pressure on it to get it to... Yeah, there you go, it's on. So actually, I think that's it. I think we'll just simply hold this and start to bend these pieces back. So the way you would do that is sort of press on the plastic bit and bend inwards like that. See that? Same on this side here. You're only going to get away with this so many times, so try and get it right first time. Test it as I've just done. Let's just flip back to that side. Yeah, the more times you go in and out of these, there's risk that these things here will break off. So you can see I've almost got that down. Holding. It's really difficult to... There we go, get that side to go back. And because of the nature of the way you spread the things, you'll never get these quite, you know, right all the way. This is where I would very carefully use some mole grips. So tighten the gap so that when you put it like that, you can sort of just squeeze a little bit. Yeah, but do not squeeze so hard that you break the whole thing. You're grabbing both metal sides like that, and just squeeze them together like that. Still a bit loose there, look. But the thing that's going to make the biggest difference here is pushing the other part of contact straight up. This is where perhaps a flat blade might be the best thing. Be careful, you don't want to slip and sort of stab yourself with it. Just going to push that up like that. See that? That one's straight up, and then do the same with this one. Straight up. There we go. That side is perfect. Almost good as new. It's just a bit of precision bending, patience, control is what you need. There we go. Right, so we're all back together, tested continuity, and it beeps really well, and it was firm. Yeah, you can see injuries were sustained here. Yeah, what I need to do now is just trim back the sleeving here just a little bit, just long enough to make a solder point. You've got to be careful not to trim into the core because we've got limited length to work with here. Just twist the cores around each other. And the coating may melt back a little bit here as we tin this, so if I just add a little bit of solder to this. Yeah, there we go. You know, you're not going to need much of a length there at all. That's it. So those are now ready. Yeah, it's going to get some solder on there like that. Of course, just make sure you have got good connections there, but hopefully you can see those are soldered on. Yeah, on is up here, which just makes sense, you know, when this is on, like that, those contacts are joined. So this is the right way around. That's it, I'm moving that ground thing over just so it doesn't put too much pressure on the green and the yellow wire. That's it, that's back in. Just pay close attention to these wires here to make sure they're not pressed onto this wheel. And they kind of are. Let's just move them up. There we go, a bit like that. Maybe pull this clip here over just to pull them up away from that. Because what you don't want is any of these wires here pressing on that, because that's the main you know, belt spindle thing here, isn't it? Just test the switch. There we go. That's it, so let's give it a go. Right, so the lid is back on, the TV is on. This will be the first power on. I genuinely haven't tested it, so please let this work. If this doesn't work, it's not about the power switch. I think it is about the power switch, because that came straight on. And you just knew I was going to test this game. This game appears in every single one of my CPC videos, I think. I will test something else in a minute, but yeah, I would like to give this a go. Yeah, one thing I have noticed with some of the disc images I've got on my DDI3 here, they don't all work. I was trying another version of this, and it didn't work properly. Let's define keys. So, left, right, and I've tested every key, they all work. One player. Such a great game this. This was the, you know, Amstrad and the Sinclair Double Dragon really, because the actual version of Double Dragon was crap. Had they put the music, graphics and sound into this engine, Double Dragon would have been amazing on this 8-bits. And then right, it's flip screen on this machine. But I mean, it's even got the weapons, you know, the weapons work really well as well, quite rewarding when you use them. The Amstrad keyboard, really nice. I always enjoy using these. Not only do they look really nice, but they work really well. And I think this is one of the slightly later machines. The earlier ones have got the best keyboards from what I understand. You know, they're a bit deeper, go a bit deeper. These ones are a bit more shallow, I think, compared to the earlier ones. So, I mean, other than a couple of dinks on this, you know, we'll spray this with some silk in a minute, it's not bad at all. The only thing Rich needs to do is replace the tape counter. I've shown that in that video when I looked at his last one, actually. It's dead easy to do. I'm not going to cover it here, because all I'm doing is going over the same old things, really. I maybe changed that belt, but you know what? The tape deck does actually work really well. So, it probably doesn't need a new belt at this point in time. Yeah, title screen loading perfectly. Sounding really healthy. Can you believe it? There's a version of Turrican 2 on the CPC. I had no idea. Let's just see what it looks like. Wow, the world's smallest play area, but hang on, I'm trying to work out what the keys are. Colour-wise, it looks pretty good actually. Ah, consider me fairly impressed actually. Oh, I thought those were collection things, you know, things to collect. They were enemies. It was death to collect. Yeah, you're supposed to shoot those, not just run into them. That's one of the problems though when you've got such a limited play area here. You can't really see things until they're on top of you. I guess you're not supposed to fall down there. Do you know what? I think if I had a CPC and I'd seen other versions, I wouldn't be too bothered by this version. It's not bad. Yeah, and how many of you played this game? Turbo Esprit. I don't know what the keys are. Hang on. Oh, that's what the map up. Oh, you can change lanes like that. Yeah, this is like a predecessor to your Grand Theft Auto, I think. Well, not in all aspects, but like from the driving, you know, city sim, being able to drive around. I honestly can't remember what you do. I do remember when a junction comes up, you can go round the... I don't know how you slow down here. Oh, there we go. That's accelerate. Oh, that's brake, I think. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Let's just see if we can find a junction. Hang on. Oh, there's one. Yeah, you've got to be moving to be able to change lanes. I don't think I've got to get that turn, am I? No, I've missed it. Ah, that's annoying. And I'm not sure if you have to press a key to go around the corner. Like in the Ocean Batman games when you do the driving bit. Where you fire out your batarang and it sticks to a lamppost or something. Got to wait for the traffic lights now, look, it's on red. Is that amber? I think that's amber. Green. That's quite cool really. It was light years ahead of its time. Let's just go slow and just see if we can press left and go around this. I don't know whether we can. No, we stopped. We've hit the lamppost, I think, or the traffic light. I'm going for a red light, look. Yeah, you don't just press left, you have to press probably fire or something, I don't know what it is. But then, you know, it just flips the orientation and you're down another street. You can see a car driving across through the intersection there, it's quite cool. Yeah, so working reliably now. Every time I switch it off and on, and that switch is pretty stiff, it comes straight on. From cold starts before, that's when the problem was reoccurring, so let's get the wrist strap on. Yeah, I don't like this thing, this DDI3. I like it in terms of functionality, well, almost. I can't get out of the T folder at the moment, I don't know how to do it. You've got navigation buttons and selection, that's it, that resets. What you really want is the auto boot thing, but Zaxxon never got it working on this, I don't think, on this version here. I got like a weird oddball in between versions revision, which means even though it's got a version of fast floppy on it, I don't know how to update it, I don't know what to do with it. I've asked him a few times and he never got back to me, so it's like, yeah, if you're going to consider buying things from Zaxxon, think twice, because you'll get like zero support from him. I mean, I might be updating this video if he ever gets back to me and explains to me how I can update that so that I can get a version of Auto Boot running on it. And you may think, what's Auto Boot? Well, it provides a menu that you can boot from that allows you control of that drive to be able to have, you know, virtual floppy slots, and you select a game image and associate it with a virtual slot there, and then it just means you're not having to go through, as I am at the moment in the T folder, 526 files to try and find the game you want. Not only that, but the screen display settings need changing on it, because it flashes, you know, the letters scroll across so quick you can't even see them. You've got to actually select something in order to see what you've actually got selected. So as you go up, 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 you don't know what you're looking at until you hit select, and then you're like, oh, I've gone too far. it's like, you know, change the direction the other way a few files until eventually you get the file you want. But I kid you not, you'll spend 20 minutes trying to find one blooming file on that SD card. Anyway, there we go. So it's had a bit of a polish, and I think you'll agree, it looks almost good as new. Just a bit of fading on these blue keys, and obviously some little marks on the tape window there. But anyway, that's good enough now. I'm pleased with that. I can go back. So the only thing that's outstanding with this is the reset counter. We've covered that before, link top right, and the belts. So he can do those things himself. They're not very complicated to do, and they're not very expensive to do. I just don't happen to have any spares of either of those parts, and I want this off the bench. The main thing is, the main issue, e.g. it not powering up, has been dealt with. Yeah, and that sticky residue on the front there just came off with a bit of plastic polish. So I sent that back to Rich. You can see a couple of photos here, it got back okay. I know we covered some old ground there, but yeah, nevertheless, it was interesting looking at that power switch, and there will be a cut down version of that power switch repair video uploaded on its own. I do hope you found the video interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. I'll catch you in the next video.